Say what you want about Americans, but we understand capitalism.
With this being my first trip out as Max Payne, I was curious to see what this game had in store for me. Having been developed by Rockstar, famous for their Grand Theft Auto series, meant that I had faith that it wouldn't disappoint. What I experienced was the grittiest, darkest and most harrowing narrative that I believe has ever been incorporated into a game, but Rockstar manages to pull it off with such class that it makes Max Payne 3 an experience that contains the best storytelling inside a game in recent history.
Maybe I had lost my self-respect, but it's back. I'm excited. Really.
For those of you unfamiliar with Max Payne, the storyline is very simple. Max is a world-weary man who is tortured by the death of his wife and daughter, and in his depression he has turned to alcohol and drugs to quell the pain. Then, out of the blue, Passos, another ex-cop, finds Max in a bar and offers him a new life in Sao Paulo, working as a private security guard for the very rich Bronco family. As expected, things don't go quite as well as planned, and Max finds himself attempting to rescue Rodrigo Bronco's trophy wife after she is kidnapped. One event leads to another, and Max finds himself in a truly dark situation where the line between doing good and evil is truly fine.
And these chumps had paid for some angry gringo without the sensibilities to know right from wrong.
Max Payne 3 deals with a large amount of adult themes. Alcoholism, drug abuse and sex are the main three, and video games have a tendency to present adult themes with humour, but Rockstar attacks them head on and with class. I love the fact that Rockstar presented these themes in such a mature and serious manner. The writing in Max Payne 3 is truly something to boast about. The narrative is delivered by Max in sections of monologue, and at first these can be a bit annoying, but after a while you begin to connect with Max, and these monologues help portray his inner thoughts and thus really help the player understand Max's motivations. The dialogue between characters is mainly told through one-liners, to provide a sense of comic relief to an already dark game. But these one-liners can become tiresome quickly, especially when Max feels the need to drop one every time he picks up a tub of painkillers. Overall, the dialogue and narrative to Max Payne 3 is exceptionally strong, and is some of the best that I've ever experienced inside a video game. Max Payne 3's storyline and narrative isn't for everyone. If you're easily offended, then I would advise you to stay away from Max Payne, but if you're looking for a video game that takes itself seriously, then Max Payne 3 is for you.
Nothing like the view of extreme poverty to make a penthouse cocktail party really swing.
The art style of Max Payne 3 really complements the narrative and storytelling. The music is great and gunshots sound realistic, but where the art style really shines is the continuous journey that it attempts to portray. The loading screens are hidden by cutscenes, which help give Max Payne 3 a continuous feeling that keeps you playing. The action is broken up frequently by cutscenes, and in the beginning this can become quite frustrating, but soon the player becomes accustomed to it, and the story develops and the action intensifies with each cutscene. Important phrases and characters are highlighted in these cutscenes, and they really add a huge amount of content to the storyline. The attention to detail is impressive, with each environment looking distinctly different from the next. Max finds himself everywhere, from a high-end nightclub to the slums of Sao Paulo. Each setting has its own unique and distinct feeling, which keeps the players engaged. Max Payne 3 is a violent game, there's no doubt about that, and the art style chooses to portray this violence. With a photorealistic art style, the blood now pours from enemies after they've been shot, and dead bodies slump on the floor realistically. Texture popping does occur, but this is exceptionally rare, and the frame rate holds steady, even throughout larger battles.
The family we were protecting were local celebrities, rich parasites with delusions of humanity. The kind of people who end up in glossy magazines or body bags, depending on how their luck runs.
Max Payne 3 has a simple premise: shoot or be shot. Max is proficient with a variety of different weapons, ranging from pistols to grenade launchers, but he's not a superhero. Max can only take a couple of bullets before he is in real danger of losing his life. To compensate for this, Rockstar have implemented a variety of gameplay mechanics. The first and most prominent of these mechanics is bullet time, which Max can shift into and out of at will. Shifting into bullet time allows Max to slow everything down around him and shoot with increased accuracy. It is extremely useful for pulling off those crucial headshots when surrounded by a large amount of enemies. Running alongside the bullet time mechanic is Max's shoot dodge mode, which has all of the implications of bullet time, but with the addition of Max throwing himself in the player's chosen direction. These mechanics lend themselves to a more aggressive style of play. However, when you factor in Max's fragility, the experience tends to be a lot more conservative, especially with the added bonus of a cover mechanic. When Max does take one too many bullets, there are two options available to the game. If Max has a tub of painkillers on him, then the game will enter bullet time, granting the player one last chance to avoid that fatal shot by shooting their enemy. If the player pulls this off successfully, then they'll find Max in the prone position and able to get up and carry on the fight. If the player is to fail, then Max is effectively dead. The last chance system can become frustrating when it isn't apparent who shot you, or if they are out of reach, which causes Max to die. The distance between checkpoints can also be brutal, and it can feel like the player is being severely punished for failing. There isn't much variety in terms of gameplay, but what Max Payne 3 does supply is solid and fun. There isn't much exploration needed to be done, as levels are truly linear, and the only motivation provided to do so comes in the form of collectibles, but this just complements the continuous journey aesthetic. There are a couple of set pieces thrown in where Max has to shoot an incoming rocket out of the air or throw himself through a window, but these only occur once or twice a chapter. There isn't much room for experimentation in Max Payne, as the gameplay leans towards a certain playstyle, and if you move too far away from this playstyle, do not expect to survive.
Tell you what I got. I got a gun, and if anybody thinks they're gonna take it from me, they'd be dead wrong.
Onto the multiplayer. I'd heard a lot of good things about Max Payne 3's multiplayer, but ultimately I'm disappointed. On paper, Max Payne's multiplayer appears deep and wide. It offers a variety of loadout options as well as a variety of modes. However, when this is put into practice, the multiplayer, specifically the loadout and maps, do not feel balanced enough. It was nice of Rockstar to provide the option of competitive multiplayer in forms of such as Team Deathmatch, but it does neither good nor bad for Max Payne 3. This game's strength truly lies in its narrative and storytelling.
Something rotten in the air.
That didn't mean much. There was always something rotten in the air.
There's no doubt about it. Rockstar deliver top-end games, and Max Payne 3 is no exception to this rule. It is an example of fantastic and unique storytelling, mixed in with solid gameplay and a truly detailed art style. Everyone who is serious about gaming as forms of creative mediums should experience Max Payne 3, as it provides a whole new way of experiencing story in video games, and that's why X3 News has given it a 9.5 out of 10. For the full written review, head over to www.x3news.co.uk.